I will share with you one story, especially for the pets. Back in the days when the pet was presented in Call of Dragons, I didn't quite well understanding those whole pet mechanics. Some of the people who was playing Rise of Kingdom actually make a suggestion that the pets are something like the armor. You know, in Rise of Kingdom, you have like, I don't know how many pieces, like maybe 4, 6, 7, 8. I really don't know how many pieces you have of the gear, but the people were suggesting going for the pets, and all the pets thing was something that is something like this related to this. And actually, is yes and no. Just because some of the pets is good to actually go and build specifically the pet, the damage of the pet, not actually going for this pet somehow support your legion. Even though that right now we're having some pets, especially the new one. Oh brother, the new pet in Call of Dragons is absolutely crazy. I mean, so many HP is giving. This one can go up to infantry HP bonus can go up to 10%. You have this one. From here you have this one, which is giving like extra 7%. Obviously here is going to be endurance, and here is going to be I think it was strange. Yeah, it's a strange, but at the end of the day, the pets was very complex topic for majority of the people, including me. Now I was having some people was asking me why I don't make videos for the pets, and basically the main reason was I didn't actually understand them quite well. But right now we have so many guides on the YouTube, for example, or whatever. If you can actually ask some other players also to share with you something about the pet you're looking for. Is this pet good for this one? And in same time I get decent knowledge over the pets over the past. I really don't know how long we actually have the pets. Maybe there is over half year, maybe 2 years, not 2 years, maybe half year, close to 1 year, or maybe 1 year and more. I really don't remember, but yeah, the pet was absolutely complex, and not many people was actually building the pets the right way, including me. I spread my resources over different pets, trying to make them 2-star, because back in the days, for the people who remember, first of all, we was presented with pets that was having like it can have like 1 skill, so that was a great pet, because you can basically boost this skill and make it 2 stars and release the pet, and for sure you're going to get 2-star pet. On the other side, there was like this, you're going to make a 3-star. But right now the pets is like with 2 spells, and the majority of the cases you have to put a 3-star skill, some useless skill, and the 2-star desired from you skill to actually get the 2-star skill. And it's still not guaranteed you can still get back the 3-star skills. So the pets become more and more complex, but I think with the time, especially the game, give us a great opportunity, because back in the days it was just, I think, 2 warrants, and right now in the KVK we're presented with 5 warrants from the policy and etc. And also the chance to get the talent skill was increased by awards. Basically every pet I capture most likely is going to have the talent skill, so this actually make the things way more easy. But I remember just back in the days how complex was the pets and pet skill. But yeah, again, right now there is just so many guides for specific different pet. Currently I make a first impression for the new pet. Obviously I cannot actually go that much in deep with each pet, because I just cannot test this pet on the full potential. The new pet obviously is infantry. I think this everybody understand that, but most likely I'm going to ask some infantry main or kraken who actually make this pet like the talent skill 3-star, and give me some reports where I can actually see how much damage this pet is doing. From first look you can definitely see which pet what is doing. Mostly something like the skills that the heroes are having, like tank. So here we have a great survivability. Skills, here we have big damage. It's basically hitting like 2 legions. Here more damage again. Precision is something like marksman main, so it's going to be damage over time or something like this. Deals damage to the target legion and receive healing. Obviously it's not going to this thing here is not going to dictate what the pet is going to do, but it's giving some good an idea for what the pets may actually do. And something I can actually say for the people having issues with the pets is just don't be afraid to ask for help. Everybody has lose at once. This is me when I start playing. I first of all, I didn't actually put that much effort over the pets. I was thinking, okay, this is something like pets is just something that I have to buy an extra, which is completely fine. I mean, what I mean by completely fine is there is just new mechanic presented in the game, and you decide should you actually go for it or should you not actually go. But I start seeing some great damage dealing from mages, and I ask myself, okay, so this legion is doing like 40, 50, 60% more damage for me. Obviously the Liliya is awakened and Velyn is awakened. My Liliya is awakened and my Velyn is awakened. So from somewhere, somehow this thing has to happen. I mean, there should be some kind of reason why somebody is doing more damage. And when I get the report, I saw that just the pets, some pets are doing crazy amount of damage. Maybe I'm going to work speaking, for example, with the best cavalry players in Call of Dragons for the cavalry pets, best marksman players. We already have something like a mage guide in our channel and the infantry one. Obviously, infantry right now, I think the Moodbear is leading for how much damage. For the damage pet, let's say it like this. It was a Bruinbear, but you know, Bruinbear is something like it's doing damage, but Sand Lizard is doing more damage, and Moodbear is doing more damage. I think Moodbear is even better for a rally or garrison because it's doing diffused damage, and if it's on single target, it's just going to do way bigger damage. You know, you have, for example, artifacts is doing 4000 damage, Phoenix Eye, but it's having diffused damage. So if you hit like 5 targets, you're going to do 2000 per target. So you see like 50% reduction of the damage, and this is what diffused damage is basically is. So for single target, I think this pet is still from point of infantry, because the majority of the rallies is happening with the infantry. People are using infantry for the rallies. Maybe for some gates fight or something like this, you may actually see something else, some different type of rallies like host Kinara and stuff like this. But yeah, at the end of the day, yeah, if you have any issue with the pets, just ask. And I'm going to try to maybe make some guides for some of the pets. So if you guys have any suggestion or struggle with some pets to actually understand it more in detail, I actually start making more pets guides on my channel. So yeah, if you're in this content, you can just subscribe there. And the game is doing pretty nice work with the pets. For example, Sapphire Farjurak, for example, obviously is going to be for Liliya because the plain boon is boosted by the Scorch Carefrost, which is very giving, and Ewin can inflict and snare. So if you see this pet, definitely going to see that inflicting Scorch, Carefrost, and Ensure. So obviously this pet is going to be for one of these heroes. At least this is how I see the things. So yeah, I guess this will for this video, guys. Little conversation over the pets. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. I wish you a great day and see you in the next video.